I don't mind a few lies being told on me, and I don't mind being used or stoned. For every time there's a lie told on me, there's just another brick in my brand new home. That's why I'm going where the wicked shall cease from troubling. There'll be no more trouble, and the weary shall be at home. And all the saints, and all the saints, and the angels, what shall they do? They shall just sit at his feet. Father God, we come this morning saying thank you. Nothing more but just you being you, Father God. We know not because you've been so good, but because of your grace and mercy. We just say thank you. Now, Father God, we're grateful and thankful for everything that has transpired up until this point. But right now, Father God, we know that we can only make it from the words that come from you. Right now, Father God, we ask you to take me out of the picture that no one will see me, but they will hear nothing but you right now, Father God. We ask you to bless each and every one of us as well. Bless our pastor, bless my comrades, my associates that are with me today, my friends, my family, my church members, my church. We just say thank you. Right now, Father God, we ask you to just touch us. That someone will hear it, someone will take it, and someone will use it. In the name of Jesus we pray. Amen. While we're standing, if you turn real quickly to the book of Matthew. I'm sorry, to the book of Mark. I'm sorry, it is Matthew. Matthew, the 15th chapter.
Okay.
The 21st through the 28th verses. When you found it, say amen. Yeah. If you haven't found it, don't say nothing, keep flipping. The 21st verse, I'm reading out of the King James Version, which reads, Then Jesus went thence and departed into the coast of Tyre and Sidon. And behold, a woman of Canaan came out of that same coast, and cried unto him, saying, Have mercy on me, O Lord, thou son of David. My daughter is grievously vexed with a devil. But he answered her not a word. And his disciples came and besought him, saying, Send her away, for she crieth after us. But he answered and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Then came she and worshipped him, saying, Lord, help me. But he answered and said, It is not meet to take the children's bread to cast it to the dogs. And she said, Truth, Lord, yet the dogs eat the crumbs which fall from the master's table. The 28th verse reads, And Jesus said unto her, O woman, great is thy faith. Be it unto thee, and even as thou wilt. And thy daughter was made whole from that very hour. I want you to turn to someone and say, Neighbor, neighbor, pray for me. Pray for me. Neighbor, neighbor, pray for the preacher. Pray for the preacher. Neighbor, neighbor, I'm just asking for the crumbs. I'm just asking for the crumbs. You may be seated. Amen. I'm just asking for the crumbs. First of all, saying thank you to God for just another day. And to my pastor, who you got to say this publicly sometime, I love him dearly. Yes. He's somebody I can call with anything and talk to him about anything and everything. Amen. And we talk about everything and everybody. Amen. So that's what we're supposed to do. By learning about how to love and how to respect and how to do things in God's way. You know, I also have to tell my newfound brother, Reverend Buddy, I love him dearly. And to my sister, who she's just my sister, or she's my sister, I love her dearly. Y'all just don't know what goes on behind the scenes. This is a lovely thing. Sometimes. But anytime we get together and congregate in the house of God, it's all good. So my other little buddy over there, if you don't get no bigger, you're still my... All right. And to my other little buddy over there, you know, they like chihuahuas. You can't never one or two or three. And in the realm of things, when there's somebody starting some trouble, it's always the little ones. Proud 11 too. A lot of you little brothers, drink milk. But this morning, does anybody in this room have a need in your life? Yes. Or is there anyone here that has several important needs? And I would go a step further and say most people in this room today have more than one major need in their life. Some may not see how their need is going to get met, but I got a solution this morning. Some people are looking at devastating family problems, and some are looking at financial difficulties, and some are looking at the problem with a child. Some see their own soul and realize that they're lost. And some are looking at disease and wondering what lies ahead for them. And some are looking at their parents and realizing they won't be here forever. I can stand here all day and not exhaust a list of problems that many of us are facing today. In the midst of your problem, you need someone to help you. You need someone who can turn your solution into the right path, into the right way. You need God. You need God to work in your life. You don't need Him to lift every burden, just the heaviest one. You have to understand that some of those burdens He gives you because we have to do the whole ourselves. You know, sometimes you make that bed, you got to lie in it. Sometimes. You don't need to give Him every mountain, just the highest one. You don't need to go through the whole road and ask Him for that bread. Sometimes you just need the crumbs. And the reason I say you need the crumbs because if you're a cook, you know, you take the flour and you sift it. You take the whole butter, the real butter, and the eggs, and you blend it together. And you get a little seasoning, you might put the vanilla extract or whatever you do, and you put it all together, you mix it all together, and you put it in the oven with love, and about an hour, it's ready to go. And then every once in a while, you cut a piece, and nothing left on the plate but the crumbs. And when I was a kid, I used to love the crumbs. Because believe it or not, if it was in the cake, it's in the And as I got a little older, I got away from the church and I was out in the streets and on the corner. I never wanted the whole thing. I wanted you to sell me the... Because I got more. I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one. Because when it was in the big brother, it was in the... All of the natural girls come this morning. Now see, the situation we're looking at this passage today, Jesus is approached by a mother who is in a desperate situation. And if you didn't know, a mother's prayer goes a long way. A long way. Now once you get old and adult in your own situation, mama can still pray for you, but that prayer is kind of like beating against the wall. But while you're still a child and you're still you're birthed into the world, a mother's prayer goes a long way. And this story, if you don't know about the story, this is a story about the Canaanite woman, or the woman from Canaan. Just to give us a little bit of text here about Canaan. Canaan is now modern Lebanon or Palestine. So it's still going on. The whole war in this region is still going on. They fought before Jesus came. They fought while Jesus was here. They still fight. The same thing over a piece of property. Amen. Any biblical scholars? Anybody heard of the Gaza Strip? Sound like River Heights and Dellcrest. They fight over Hackberry Street. Just to put it into perspective this way. Now, in this situation, Jesus was approached by this woman. She needs something in her life. She needs to come to the Lord, and she does. She's not just asking for a whole river, but she's just asking for the crumbs. In her situation, her daughter was vexed. It said vexed with the devil. That means she has some stuff going on with her. Anybody ever see The Exorcist? Jimmy Blair, when her head turned all the way around, she was doing stuff like that. But in order for her to be vexed with the devil, that means that she was either beating herself up, harming the building, cussing everybody out. She was doing these things, so therefore her mother knew that she was vexed with this devil. Now, in order for this lady to be a Canaanite, she had to be a Gentile, which means she was not of Jewish descent, which means she was not a favorable woman. Amen? He's playing me today, don't worry. He's coming black. All right? But as we get more into the scripture, we have to understand that this mother knew that she had to get some help. And everybody at her particular land couldn't help her. She had been to everybody. Dr. Phil, Oprah, what's the doctor, the heart doctor. She had been all over, they couldn't help. But she heard about a man. He didn't need a stethoscope or blood pressure cup. He didn't even need no penicillin. All he had to do was he could just touch the hem of his garment. And all he had to do was to speak. And you know when your mama hears something and she know it, you can't tell mama nothing else. You laughing, but if it was a sale across town, you would go across town. Because mama couldn't go get it. So she heard about a man who had something that could do something for everybody. So she had to go get the man. Now, Jesus told the Pharisees and the scribes and disciples and the multitude that nothing in itself is unclean. That means that, you know, everything that is defilant or anything that is bad comes out of man. Because God, if you go back into the Genesis, when he made something, he said, and it was good. We had an argument. Was the dirt in the garden good or bad? It says in the Bible, it was good. He made man, and man was good. Everything that he made was good. But everything that come out of man is defiled. So, if we think that is so, we have to figure out that his message was very simple. What is in a man's heart, that's what he truly is. Whoa. Sometimes you have to search your heart. Because if you have the wrong intentions in your heart, sometimes the wrong things are going to come out your mouth. Grandma had another little, I love my grandma. She taught me a lot. She said, boy, don't never shoot your mouth off without having your brains loaded. In order to have your brains loaded, that means you got to have the right content in your heart. That means get your heart right. Get your brain loaded. Then speak. Educationally, like you have some sense. That's a sermon in itself. I had to tell y'all about, what time baby was about 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock last night. I came into church here and I preached to myself for like 2 hours. I was happy, really happy, because I had to understand that sometimes we as humans and I can say it as Negroes, sometimes we want the whole cake. Sometimes if we don't get the big one, you know, somebody give you a cupcake, what is this? And they'll throw it away. It is not what we want. But by searching this thing, sometimes it's the little bitty things that God blesses us with that is more suffice than the big thing. Now, as soon as the encounter was over with the woman, Jesus went to his men to go to Tyre and Sidon, which is in the heart of the Gentile territory. Now, once again, he was trying to get some rest from the pressures of ministry. He was going on sabbatical. He was going on vacation. He was just going to take a couple of days off and, you know, take off his sandals and kick his feet up. But this is another message. If you're truly in ministry, whether you sing, whether you preach, or you usher, you can never get no rest wherever you go. Because somebody is truly in you. Somebody's going to feel it and see it in you and go ask for some kind of help. Amen? Like it was with Jesus. When he got there, he was trying to just simply be hidden. Because everywhere he went, obviously he was like a modern day rock star. Once somebody caught wind that Jesus was in the building, Jesus? No. Not J-E-S-U-S. Jesus? The one, the raised man, Jesus? He's here? Could get no rest. This one woman was so persistent that no matter what they did, she kept crying out, my Lord, my God, my Lord, my God. Jesus already knew where she was from. Because I guess I have to do some more research on this, but I believe the way that you dressed, the apparel that you had on, kind of dictated where you were from in those regions. Because right now, if you come into the wrong neighborhood with a red suit on, go somewhere with a blue suit on. Sound familiar? There's nothing new under the sun. So obviously there were things that marked people there, so they knew where this woman was from. And by her being from Canaan, she was a Gentile and she was not a Jew. And Jesus was not being stingy. If you read it, if you heard what I read, he says, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep but of the house of Israel. I come to say, I come from my Jewish people. I come from my people, the chosen people. But let me tell you something about the chosen people. Sometimes the chosen people are wrong as 2 left feet too. Amen? Amen? That's this story. As soon as the encounter was over, we've already gone to this. When Jesus is in a person, family, church, or community, or whatever, he simply cannot be hidden. The word will get out that he is in the house. That's why we should take everything and do everything that we can when you know Jesus is in the building to be on our best behavior. So sometimes Jesus will show up in the wrong place, but it's the right place. You ever get in the car, driving it like it's hot, and then all of a sudden something will hit you? Hey, what am I doing here? Or you look up and see a church person, what that church person doing here? No, and you're supposed to be the same person. Sometimes Jesus will show up, and my good buddy can tell you, we've been in a spot before where a gun was pulled. Bow, 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 shots went off. And only God was standing in front that I didn't get shot. You know, and I say that, it doesn't even have to be in a club. I drive a truck now, that FedEx truck. And just yesterday, somebody came just out of nowhere. I know I looked, we got cameras in the truck, and I backed up. As soon as I put my foot on the gas and turned and looked, right there stood a child. Right there. Looking in the window, looking at me. That's God working. That's God working. Sometimes Jesus will show up when you need him. Sometimes he'll show up when you don't want him. But I guarantee you, he's going to show up. But this story is not about him showing up. It's about you asking for the proper thing at that time. Because they know you to asking for a Cadillac if you can't afford the maintenance on the gas. They know you to asking, Lord, let me get a house in the Dominion. You can't even afford to pay the gate. The guy that says at the gate, you can't even afford that fee. So sometimes we got to just ask for the cupcake. Thus this lady, she knew already. If you know about the story, Jesus was telling her, well, why would I give you the bread for the children? And then the lady just snapped. Jesus already knew that God has an infinite wisdom. But she started worshiping him and said, oh God, even the dogs eat the crumbs from the master's table. That told me when I read into the scripture part of it, Jesus was happy that even a Gentile could worship him in that manner. That's when he sent her away, and her daughter was healed. I got 3 quick points, and we're going to be out this morning. First point, a mother's request. As the woman came to Jesus because she was concerned about her daughter, the child was demon-possessed, and which was probably, like I said, acting out of violence and anger. She needed help in a desperate way. It may have been the demon was causing her bodily harm, that the child was in a situation, and it was just too much for the mother to bear. This woman came to Jesus because faith and hope had aroused in her heart, and she needed something that society had not been able to provide. You know, sometimes we try to go to social media to help us with our problems. And what we need to do is drop on our knees and go to the problem solver. Sometimes we'll call all over town, all over the state, all over the country, looking for a solution when it was right there in your face. All time. Sometimes we'll argue about little minor things. When all along, all we had to do was just rely on Jesus. Worrying about who's going to cook what. What notes you going to sing. What scripture you going to pray. What door you going to stand on. How come he wearing shoes? How come she got that hat on? How come that child won't on? And the list goes on and on. But all we have to do is just come in and say, thank you, Jesus. When she came in, she came in the church, thank you, Jesus. But sometimes we're so hung up on the whole cake, we miss out on the crumb. See, she needed a solution that she not been able to rise by her own self-efforts. She was desperate, and she saw Jesus was her only hope. Sometimes in last desperation, the only thing we can do is turn to Jesus. I said this before, let the cop pull up behind me when I'm driving. Oh God, Jesus help me. Now see, I call on Jesus all the time for everything. But some people don't call on Jesus for nothing. But until times of distress or trouble. So when I call his name, he all has to know I know who he is. He can't sing too well, but he can dance. Yeah. He can't even beat to him, but he's going, hey! I know who he is. I know one thing, out of this point about the most request, if you're not recognized by Jesus, what you gonna do when you get home? If you don't recognize him now, what do you think you're gonna do when you get to the game? Hey Jesus, it's your boy! You're gonna be like, who that? That's one scenario you don't want to run into. Point number 2, a mother and her resolve. This woman came to Jesus for help, and when she doesn't get the response she imagines, she stays after Jesus until she gets what she wants. That tells me that Jesus hears you. But he still, sometimes he don't come when you want him to come. Sometimes he don't come in the way that you want him to come. But he's still going to come. It's not like he's just not listening to you. Sometimes you're not praying the right prayer. Sometimes you're not asking for the right thing. Sometimes it's immaterial stuff that you just...
Say that. Amen.
God, give me a Rolex. Why wouldn't Mickey Mouse work just fine? Can't even spell Rolex. Put a Rolex on your arm, I might cut your wrist off for it. I am a man, Preacher ain't nothing but a man that can preach the word, that gets the word from God to preach it. When I pull up to the gas station, I still got to pay for my gas. I can't pull out a preacher and get free gas. So that means I'm not immune to what you go through. I'm not immune to what we go through. It's just I'm charged with a different charge. Because if I stand up here and tell you something that's not in this book, I'm going to go to hell with gas in my drawers. Somebody told me there's a long line of hell, and at the front of that line, they never preaches. Pastor, I want to be in that one. I ain't going to be in that one. But as long as I can stay black, and breath comes out of my chest, I'm going to say thank you. I know where my help comes from. A mother request when she came to Jesus because she was concerned about it. She needed help in a desperate way that the demon might be causing her body. The woman came because Jesus was her only hope. Do you understand this morning that no matter what we go through, you might be in good hands at all state. You might even like that little Geico thing. But the only insurance that you got, that is blessed assurance. Jesus is mine. Because if I put my trust on any other thing, it's for sure it's going to run me right to the gate of hell. Point number 2, that mother and her resolve. When Jesus came to her, she's going to get what she wants. First, Jesus simply ignores her. He turns an indifferent ear to her for her cries of help. Then he tells her his whole purpose to come to the world was to reach the lost sheep of Israel. So when she persists, Jesus tells her that she is a dog and she does not deserve the children's bread. The disciples rejected her. Now it appears that Jesus is rejecting her too. But he's not rejecting her. He's subjecting her. He's teaching her, trying to see where her heart was. She hears Jesus and tells him that his mission here on earth is to the nation of Israel. She hears this She moves beyond seeing him as a Jewish Messiah. She now sees him as her only hope. Once she saw that once Jesus saw that she saw that, that's when the whole thing flipped. Because she worshiped him just by the little saying, Lord, Son of David. Don't the dogs eat from the master's table? Since I'm a dog, don't the dogs eat from the master's table? I know my little puppy's just fat bellied and everything because he eats some of the scraps. Whatever I get on the table, the puppy gets. So therefore, am I not fit to be the dog? Jesus said, because of your faith. And because you understand where your help comes from, your baby is going to be all right. You know, she humbles herself down to give him worship. You know, and do you understand that if we just humble ourselves to God, help will come? It's not like 911, they're going to push on hold, press 1 for fire department, press 2 for ambulance. All you have to do is get on your knees and 911 heaven. Jesus is going to pick up the phone. They're going to put an operator on the line. Jesus is going to come to your call. Can I give you a little tidbit? Jesus is with you anyway. All you have to do is just be receptive to what he's telling you and what he needs as far as respect. And he's going to be with you all the time. Sometimes we'll close the door because we want to go drop it like it's hot, or we got to go to Don's and Ben's and we don't want Jesus to walk and with it. Jesus with you. Jesus might be the innkeeper. You never know. But you ought to keep your heart susceptible to that. That will change my walk. That's why I dance. I don't care. You say what you want to say. I dance. I dance for Jesus because he let me dance. I dance for Jesus because, you know, they told me I had a hurt knee. That same week, they told me I got a job. I started dancing even harder. Now, the devil trying to tell me, you don't need to work. Get some disability. Trying to, no. Grandma taught me better than that. Work for it. You'll feel better tonight. You'll earn it. And when it comes to this Christianity and this gospel thing, you got to study to show yourself approved. Sounds like reading Bible study. You got to get into it. And once you get into it, see, I dance some more. Sooner or later, we all get on and say, I ain't going to be the only one dancing. And see, when I get to ATAVEN, they're going to give me my wings. I'm going to listen to that one. Where the music is coming from. And say, I ain't going to have to be on the floor. I'm getting no areas. I'm going to be so happy just to get in and they give me a broken wing. I just fly around and say, but I'm going to be all right. Because I'm going to be able to do it. Do you understand? We just humble ourselves to God. Help will come. There's more than her reward. See, this is point number 3. He was amazed at the depth of her faith. In fact, this woman was the only one of 2 people Jesus referred to as having great faith. The other was a person of a Roman centurion who came to Jesus to have him heal a sick servant. You remember that? This is my servant. Well, God, I know you're the only one who can help him. Both of these 2 were Gentiles. And if he can help Gentiles, see, people don't understand when you're Gentile, and that's the holy war right there. Oh, you're Gentile, you can never get into our heaven. They didn't read the whole B-I-B-L-E. They only pick it, and that's something we have to understand, and we have to be very careful of. If you got a favorite scripture, that's good, but read everything around it. Because sometimes we'll use our whole Christian philosophy on one Jesus well. Well, why did he leave? You know, sometimes in the beginning God created the heaven and earth. Well, okay, you didn't read the rest of it. So we have to be very particular. Right, and this mother and her reward, she understood that Jesus was going to test her faith. And her hard works paid off. Her faith exceeded that the people that he had come to save, she was nothing more than a Gentile dog. And that she had more faith as a Gentile dog than the Jewish scribes, the Pharisees, the Sadducees, the priests, and that Sadducees, I can't even say the word. I'm like, boo, you know what I mean. This kind of faith excites our Lord. Now, when I say excites, Lord, you know one time when we down here praising and this church is knocking off the pillars and we just, do you know God is happy? Do you know he's happy? Do you know he is approving that right there.
Yes.
But get some grumbling going on. That one person started a grumbling fire up in here.
Yes.
Yeah. It'll happen. We're in the midst of having a hallelujah good time. I don't know what she wearing over there. Why don't they do it? And there goes the fire.
Yeah.
Sometimes we just need to keep our faith and our nose in that direction. Because when I get in that mode and I want to dance, I don't look at y'all. And I don't care if you look at me. Because I'm going to get my dance on for my Lord. Once I get in that mode, you can't even tell me that. Sometimes I'll be HEB. You know, I love my baby. I love my baby. My baby said, do it, Dad. Do it, Dad. Do it. Yeah. And once you get into that mode, and once you find out about your reward, see, your reward of faith is unparalleled. Yeah. Once you find out, see, God gave me some crumbs when he gave me this job. He gave me some crumbs when he gave me my wife and my baby. He gave me some crumbs when he gave me a pastor that loves to teach and preach. He gave me some crumbs when he gave me some good people that we were around. He gave me some crumbs when I got a good place from way back when they was coming to church. He gave me some crumbs, see? Sooner or later, them crumbs will come together, and I'm going to walk into the pit. I'm going to get the whole thing. He rewarded her faith by giving her exactly what she asked for. He healed her daughter. Her faith was so strong that she didn't ask for proof.
Yeah.
What's the first thing you learn? Well, I got such and such and stuff. Prove it. I will walk away. I ain't got to prove nothing to you. I ain't got to explain nothing to you. I ain't got to prove nothing to you. But if you want to get on this train, you might as well get on board. Because, hey, when I get to heaven, I don't know what section you're going to be in, but just look for me. Just look for me. I got to be real with this one, Pastor. I ain't even going to look for you when I get there. I got to look at Jesus. I got to look at Jesus. I got to look for Jesus. Now, sooner or later, if we all get together, there's going to be a temple section, and we can all gather in that temple section. Look. They're going to say, well, sooner or later, I already know. Yeah, they come on. But you already know the angels when they say, let's get this party started. Yeah. You know why? Because they studied to show themselves approved, and they got into what they were supposed to. Pure worship. They started saying thank you without nothing being done. They started saying thank you when things was bad. They started saying thank you just because thank you. I was like, yeah. You know, last Thursday night when I was sitting here and everybody was into their little study and we had this coming from that was church to me. You know, another part of church when I see them kids back there being bad and other sisters, you need to say that, that's church to me. You know, that's church. I don't know what kind of church you came out of, but we had that happening every Sunday. All the people now, we ain't got big Sister Boutte with the hat with the little flute on it. They really kind of my favorite song would have and it had to fall off. And sometimes the hair would come with it. But you know what? You got to tell Sister Boutte out because she was going to steal shot. She didn't care about what it looked like on the bottom. She didn't care about, she had, she didn't care. Because that's what, and when I was a kid, I was like, what was she doing? And now that I got older, I'm doing it too. She didn't ask for proof, but she took Jesus at his word and turned around and went home to her family because he told her, go up to the house because you're going to be all right. She didn't know about nothing but his word. When she got his word, she was like, I'm good at peace. So Jesus was right on. When she got home and found her daughter healed and her family was restored, what a blessing. What a challenge, but now she got to go tell somebody. You couldn't sit on it. When God gets through to you, you couldn't sit on it. See, a little bit of trouble from the Lord's table might not be all you need to hear, but others might drop down and need a whole platter of corn. You know, today, I don't know what you need or what you want to do, but I know God can meet you wherever you are. Help is on the way. Do you need to be saved? I know I've been saved. Because I'm nowhere where I used to be. I'm not what I want to be. But I'm glad that I be. Now, do you need a mountain move in your life? Sometimes we make a mountain out of a molehill. You know, I say this all the time. I started off with a monkey on my back and ended up with King Kong because of me. Is there something in your life you need change? Do you need to be restored to faith and fellowship? Because tomorrow, we heard this, tomorrow's not promised. You only have right now. You know? Do you need to see God moving in someone else's life before he moves you? If you wouldn't know somebody else to catch fire so you can catch fire, your boat might go ahead. Ain't no use for you to say, I just said, well, your life's not, no, you might as well both probably go to hell. I might as well just tell you like the TI is, because there ain't no other place. If you don't catch on fire for yourself, you better get a personal relationship for yourself. Because I said, when I get to heaven, I may not be able to sing. Oh, but I got one of them Fred Astaire wings waiting on me. And Sammy Davis Jr. Oh, yeah, I can feel it coming. I don't know about you. Regardless of what you need today, you can come to Jesus and get it. You know, even if you sought him in the past and you received no answer, keep asking. Keep looking. Because sometimes he's not just ready to give it to you right then and there because it'll be too easy for you. Sometimes you got to go through something to get somewhere. Because if God gave us everything we need, we wouldn't have need to pray. You know that? If he gave us everything that we need, what would you do? You wouldn't even be sitting here at church. You wouldn't have to be dependent on him. You wouldn't have to worry about where our help comes from. But I'm telling you, my help comes from the hills. Oh God, this morning, when I get to heaven, he said when he said to his mother back in Matthew, he said, be it unto thee that as thou wilt. He has spoken to you today. Yes. When Jesus speaks to you, and it comes from God and he speaks to you, you better take heed. Because see, when I get to heaven, I said, I can't sing very well, but I'm going to jump and shout. Because see, when I get to heaven, I have to remember about this hill called Golgotha. All right. Where they hung my Jesus on. See, he didn't go without a fight. He didn't do a physical fight, but he had to do a spiritual fight. Because you know how we are. We're going to talk about you if you do something good. We're going to talk about you if you do something bad. But when they hung my Savior on that cross, and they pierced his hands, nailed it to that old rugged wooden cross for my sins. You can close your eyes right now and just imagine somebody driving a nail in your hand because you just good. Ain't nobody in this room can fit that profile right now. But they took his other hand and they drove another nail in his other hand. And then they took his feet and they riveted his feet down on the bottom of that cross. And then when God wrote the scripture said that somebody had to read the book. They knew what was going on. But they lifted my Savior. When they lifted my Savior up, they still didn't figure it out. They put a crown on his head and mocked him by saying he was the king of the Jews. They didn't know what they was doing. Jesus even said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. He was hung on that cross and pierced his side, and the fluid of life flowed down the side of him, the blood and the water went down the side of my Jesus. That was right there. See, that's the good part for me. Because they thought it was over. They thought they had won. The principalities of evil said, Jesus is dead. But he hung his head in the pits of his shoulders and he died. Oh, he died. He died of death for you. He died of death for me. He died of death for your dirty sins that you did 2 years ago. He died of death for your dirty sins you might do tomorrow. Then they put him in a borrowed tomb. Do you know what a borrowed tomb means? It means you won't give it back. While my Savior laid down and people were still wondering, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? On that third day morning. On that third day morning when my Savior stepped up out of that sepulchre with all power in his hand, he had put on a new robe. He had put on a robe in glory. He had put on an unblemished robe, something that we are all longing to get to. When he stepped out on that third day morning with all power in his hand, that's when everything had changed. This morning you have to make a conscious decision. Do you want the whole cake right now? Or are you satisfied with the crumbs? You have to understand right now, it's your turn right now. If you see my father, once upon a time, I don't know about you, but when I was just growing up as a young boy, something hit me. That it had to be something other than what I was doing. See, on that third day morning when Jesus stepped out, he already knew that Brian N. Livingston Sr. was going to be a preacher. He already knew that I was going to have to tell somebody what thus says the Lord. He already knew that I was going to keep dancing for him. On that third day morning, he already knew what you were going to do. It's just time you better step up and do it. This morning as I go to my seat, you have to understand this. Sometimes the whole cake ain't good. Grandma used to make a cake when she was there, make a whole cake, but she always used to put a little one to the side, call it a sample. And that thing just used to be so good that I much rather have the sample than the cake. But this morning I'm trying to tell you, a full plate of crumbs might be just what you need. Because my God is giving it to you. He'll never give you more than you can bear. That's what that means. And he's not going to put more on your shoulders than you can bear. He's going to give you a piece there, and a piece there, and a piece there, and a piece there, until you get a whole pound. The door to the church is open.